To decide on the need for separation from other activities in a play space, as well as on the best means to fulfill that need, risk assessment is needed. The first question should be, is there a need for separation? What are we separating from? Which are the risks? From traffic? Is it a main road? What's the local speed? Or is there deep water? Or just water play equipment and shallow water? Is it transparent? Are we dealing with areas for intended users of very different age groups, like very young or less able users as old people also? Or activities with very different risk levels, like a skate park for teenagers, or heavy equipment with a lot of movement, and a playground for very young children? Even if there is no specific risk requiring an effective separation, boundaries may be desirable to create a sense of space, protection and intimacy, or for layout, orientation, coziness, and any features can be well integrated into the landscape and have other roles in a clear or subtle communication with users. Through design, affordances are created. A small wall limiting a circulation path in a park can also be an invitation for sitting, chatting, playing, or climbing. Plants or shrubs can also separate two main areas in a harmonious way, outside circulation from play and social gathering. There are different ways to provide for separation or boundaries when needed. The SEN technical report, citing of playground and other recreational facilities, advice on methods for positioning and separation, considers four main methods: distance, natural features or landscaping, fencing, and signage, or a combination of these. The use of fences is not required by European playground standards. Fences are often used due to national legal obligations or due to common beliefs or social pressure that playgrounds need to be physically limited to contain children, like in a cage. In some cases, they may be required after a careful site-specific risk assessment made by designers with the community. But fences themselves have many disadvantages and can be a source of harm. Fences in playgrounds have been the cause of fatal injuries to young children due to strangulation, and this is connected with the design of the top of the fence, and to other injuries to older children, like finger amputation, for instance in the gate closing mechanism, and skull fractures when they are placed too close to moving equipment. Due to this kind of accidents, there is a new recommendation to keep any fences at least 1.5 meters away from the end of the impact area of swings, in the direction of the swing path. Furthermore, fences may limit the sight line for young children and limit their play and development opportunities, or they may impair natural supervision from neighborhoods and even shelter violent or illicit acts, which then becomes a public security issue. Remember that fences also create affordances and invite children to climb and play on them. So their design and siting should not introduce any risks that can hardly be anticipated by children. If a fence is needed near play areas after a risk-benefit assessment, it should be as low and transparent as possible. It should comply with playground standards requirements to prevent head and neck entrapment and crushing of hands and fingers, and it should not create a dangerous obstacle in or close to impact areas that could be hit by a user after a fall or jump from equipment. In any cases, fences should be the last resources to be chosen as a means of separation if other options are available, like distance or landscape, and they should not be used without previous and careful risk-benefit assessments. Main circulation paths should be accessible to wheeled equipment, like prams, tricycles, wheelchairs, and should give access to seating and good sight lines to the whole play area. Inside the play area, circulation should be carefully planned to avoid collisions from moving objects, like moving equipment like heavy swings, or being hit by a stray skateboard. When deciding on the layout, falling spaces should not be used as designated paths for circulation within the play space, in particular when in the presence of equipment with forced movement. Even in the absence of forced movement, avoiding overlapping of impact areas can be a good strategy. The standard forbids it in some circumstances and recommends that there should be no overlapping when there is intensive use of very different age groups of users. On the other hand, by avoiding close proximity between different structures, for play or urban furniture, we are creating different affordances. Free open space for running, informal play, traditional games, ball games, which themselves can interfere with the use of other structures. So, for every decision, a risk-benefit assessment should be undertaken as part of the risk management process, considering the possible dynamics that will be created. As for the siting of large moving equipment, like swings and carousels or large rocking and rotating equipment, or cableways, should be sited away from entrances, main paths, and at the periphery or perimeter of the play space. This type of equipment can also be protected through landscaping so that it slows down people approaching the activity spot and increases the odds for appropriate risk perception and intentional protective action. This is to reduce the risk of collisions of the moving equipment with passers-by or children running across the path of the equipment on the way to another activity.